Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you have arrived at day 75 of the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2019. Thank you so much for being with me for this journey. We are 3/4 of the way there, and you all have been there every moment of the way with me, and I appreciate you so much. Our tangle today is Sea Wave by CZT Ginny Lu, and I'm going to explore it with you right now. So Sea Wave begins with a wavy line. Just do some gentle curves. However you like, doesn't matter what they look like, but usually gentler is better than large and crazy. So then I want you to draw another one, but I don't want you to necessarily pay any attention to the one you just drew. Okay? Now, this next part is the part I think that causes people the most problems. And so let me show you how I'm going to approach it. These two lines we're going to connect with a series of curved lines that move gently from one side down to the other. And the goal here is to make these lines become a seamless part of this wavy pattern. Now, you might ask, how do you do that? Well, I wondered myself because I tried this pattern before and struggled with it. But today I have managed to beat it, and let me show you how I did that. So the way I approach the division is to find a curved line that looks like a likely subject to continue down to the other side. And I follow it in that takeoff and landing method. I redraw this line and then gently curve it down and land by redrawing the line here. And if you'll notice, I probably didn't do the best job, but it should be a seamless line that curves from one side down to the next. Yes? Now, find another curve, and let's see where we can get with that. And it doesn't always have to go from one side to the other in that way. You can start down here and come up here. In fact, let's try to do that. Now, normally I would, let's see if I can do this out of the picture. Normally I would, in fact, I think I will. See how I took off from this side following the line, put a nice curve in it, and landed seamlessly following the curve this way. Okay, I think we can do that here. Yeah. All right, now this big one I think I'd like to divide. The question is, how do we do that? Here is a nice likely curve here. So I am going to do it like this. And so when you end up with your divisions, you're going to have these little sort of seashell shapes coming down like this. Now, the rest of it is easy. You're going to begin at one corner, and you're going to draw echo lines from one point to the opposite point. And you're going to follow the curve like this. Start at the same point, come a little farther out, but then land just as you did in the same spot. Just echo each line a little further out. And those are echo lines. Think of the sound waves, the way those look. I think that's probably where that term comes from. But I wasn't around when they made it, so I don't know. Now, I hope you guys got your tangle supplies. And you're following along with me. Now these, I am really tempted to try to divide this one more time, simply because the large areas are harder for me. So I'm gonna take off from here and land like that and make that a little smaller. And then I could, it's a little off, but it's all right, we'll make it work. Now, this technique of division can take some practice, so if you're not comfortable with this, I recommend that you get a scratch piece of paper, something, and sort of try this out. I keep a sketch pad and fill it. In fact, I have them delivered every other month from Amazon because I go through a lot of them. And even if you have weird wavy curves like I've got here, just go with it. So let's try this here. Now you can see that my lines are, well, let's be honest, they're a big mess, right? And the old me would have tossed this in a rage, maybe not a rage, but in frustration, gone, why can't I draw straight? Or in this case, curved. But the beauty of this pattern is that it's not going to matter in the end. Once the shading is done, you will have something that looks very cool. And the same is true with most patterns that you try. Finish them, shade them, give them a chance before you decide, and you might surprise yourself. Now, you have one section done. Let's add another wavy line. Don't pay attention to the one you've got. Make it a soothe, gentle. Now, mine tend to look alike because, well, and yours probably will too, because you tend to approach things the same way. But here's what I got the second time. And then you divide. Take off and land. Let's see. That one will be interesting. Let's see. Okay. And don't worry if these end up being interesting, because seas have waves and eddies and all mixed up in different shapes and sizes, and you can't get it wrong. You really can't. I don't know why I'm losing my voice. Hopefully it'll be back for tomorrow. And it doesn't matter if the lines that you're putting in are exactly the same as the one in the section over, because this is all going to be a seamless thing in the end, or at least y'all's are. Mine seems to be getting worse as we go. Now, if you have a mess where they come together, darken that a little bit and go over it. Again, when we add shading, that's all going to work. I hope you guys get the idea with the echo lines. You're starting and stopping in the same place for each, but each one gets a little larger or smaller depending on the lines. And sometimes I approach the large areas in this fashion. Not sure if that's a good idea or not. It'll probably work. Take your time, unlike clearly what I'm doing here. Take your time, take off and land so that you don't have a messy mess in each area, sort of like I've got here. Take care and precision with where you line up your pin to start, and that's okay. All right, so you guys get the idea. You can make this go as far as you want. And I've seen people with entire pages, or even I've seen on Pinterest line art where they've got this pattern just going for huge, huge canvases. So this is a very zenful thing if you can sort of figure out the sectioning part, because honestly, drawing in the lines, even if they're messy like this, isn't too tough. It's the sectioning, I think, that's hard. Okay, for shading, simple. Shade where your lines converge, where they come together. Just lay down, depending on the area you're in, either light or heavy graphite. You just want to accentuate the areas where the lines come together, sort of darken that. You can shade between sections to sort of give separation if your lines are too similar, but you don't have to. You can just leave your shading to the points, which is usually on this what I do. I think the rest of it sort of takes care of itself, which is good for me. So I'm not the best shader. I'm trying to be better, but that is an area I do not feel competent to teach. If you would like to learn true, excellent shading, you want to look up Eni Oken, ENIOKEN, at enioken.com. She is the one you want to learn to shade from, and her lessons on shading and anything else are well worth the money. So check her out. That's my testimonial for today, guys. All right, so then you take your paper stump or tortillon, whichever you happen to have, or your finger. Fingers are tougher. Also use a tissue or paper towels work, but it's very hard to target your shading the way that you're able to with a tortillon or a paper stump with one of those other methods. So, you know, but in a pinch, if you don't have it, it's your finger works. So just really blend it into those little crevices. And I put some graphite down there because there was a little dip in there. You know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you can take it out. But again, if you're working on an original Zentangle tile, I do not recommend the erasing. And in true Zentangle fashion, there really should be no erasing, because whatever you come up with is okay. Well, I've got enough graphite spread over here that I might as well just put a little shadow. There you go. As you will. I've usually got enough left on my tortillon to do this kind of thing. There you go. So that is Sea Wave, and you can see that this is a very relaxing pattern if you approach it with a relaxing frame of mind. All right, let's put this in the pattern and see what we come up with today. All right, how am I going to approach Sea Wave here? I think I'm going to just go with it. That is the point of this tangle, is just go with it. I do recommend you do them one pair at a time. You can draw all of your wavy lines in, but it tends to, I don't know, maybe that's just me. Okay, that's a pretty good little section right there. Let's see, let's follow this line. Not my best thing, but this one is going to come down here. And that's all going to work out just beautifully. And I can bring that in. And right now I'm doing what I told y'all not to do, aren't I? Which is drawing in my sections before. This sectioning can be a little daunting. But trust me, go for it, fill in the lines, and you will hardly notice anything you didn't like. I don't know what that was. Remember, you want to follow your curves. Let the curves lead you. Just like that, and they sort of naturally happen. And there. All right. I think I may divide this big one right here. There. Okay, I'm happier with that. All right, let's fill in the lines and see where we get. And we'll see whether it was a good idea to do that or not. I think I want to divide this one too. Well, if I can do it, it'll make it very interesting. So here we go on the line fill. So for those of you still listening, Tuesday is court. I am expecting them to order my baby's removal. He wants to know if we can buy a lottery ticket. And when I asked him why, he said, so then you could afford to fight for me in court. Ouch. Yeah. So keep me in your prayers. Keep those positive thoughts coming. Whatever you believe in, pray that a higher power has a hand in what happens to this baby, and that he protect him. He or she, whoever your power is, or it, whatever, that they will keep their hand on him and keep him safe wherever he might be. The Bible says, if two or more are gathered in his name. So, anyway, I don't want to get preachy because that's not what this channel is about, and I respect all faiths. But your prayers and thoughts and positive energies are so deeply appreciated. And just keep us in your thoughts as we go forward. There's not a lot I can tell you guys because of, well, you can probably figure it out. But just pray. And thank you guys for keeping us in your thoughts thus far. All right. Now let's shade this bad boy. I love the way this turned out. See what happens when you stop worrying about outcomes. You simply follow the patterns, steps, focus on the lines. Let yourself relax into it. And all of a sudden you have something very cool. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is really the essence of the Zentangle method and Zentangle in general, is the ability to create art in a way that is so relaxing that it's meditative. And that is where the Zen comes from. Just add your graphite in all your little corners or little places where they converge, sort of like Z-Trick yesterday, which I totally got the name of wrong. Shogun. Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed. I hope Tom Hanks doesn't come for royalties. Wouldn't that just... Yeah. Let's not borrow any trouble here. I've got enough on my own. All right. See, just that little bit of shading without even blending it makes it look awesome. Most days, there's a lot. All right. Now, this is a perfect example of a place where I'm probably going to use my little Tombow Mono Zero eraser, and at the fat point of each of these sections, I will probably drag out some of the graphite so that it will accentuate the parts that are not shaded, and thereby giving it an even more full and vibrant look. And this is a situation that would be perfect for a little white charcoal. So if you get a little graphite heavy and you want to take a little out, just remove a little bit right in this area where it's the fattest. And that's going to make that part up and drop the recesses back even further. And when you're finished, you're going to have something really cool. I really like this pattern. I tried to do it once before, but I honestly don't think I was confident enough. And I wanted to show you guys that even though it can be a little intimidating. It's so relaxing if you can just get there. Day 75, guys. I am amazed at our progress. I'm amazed that we're still after it. So I have decided, I'm going to let you guys know what I'm going to do about the 84 spaces and needing 16 more to finish this out. Some of you may have seen in the last series that Zentangle put out in the Cartouche project pack, there is a video by Julie Willand where she is framing a picture of her dog, and she uses a divergence version around the edges to make sections, and then she drew patterns inside each section. And so what I think I'm going to do is section this around the sides. Since I've got a nice wide border here, I'm going to section this around the sides in that manner and then fill in each of the little sections. And since I need 16, and I could count the divergence itself as one, we'll see. But I want us to do that, and that's what I'm going to do for mine. I do have 2 more of these patterns going, and so I could switch over and just continue. But I think after this series is over, I want to shift my focus a little bit, and so I think that's what I'm going to do to finish this off. I want to still leave enough border here for framing, but I think it's going to be a really nice. I think it's going to be a really nice thing, a really nice piece of art. So thank you guys for being with me for day 75. I'll see you tomorrow for our downhill slide.